today we are going to be talking about some of my favorite board games. We're going to be hauling some new board games that I haven't played yet and just kind of do a little bit of like a show and tell kind of haul. Some things, like I said, I've played before, some I haven't, and they're brand new to me, and I am looking forward to playing them in the future. So I don't know if I've ever done a board game review or haul or anything type video like that on my channel before, but if you're not aware, I am a really big board game fan. Now I have to say, I have to caveat that a little bit because I feel like in the last, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 7 years, board games have really kind of like exploded into this whole other world, and I am typically more of like a traditional board game kind of player. Like I'm talking like Monopoly, Scrabble, Clue, Life, Risk, you know, all those kind of like games that you know and love. But I am starting to kind of dip my toe into some of the like indie board game companies, or you know, just like different types of board games other than like your standard go-to board games like Clue, Monopoly, all those. I'm not gonna lie, I have to say probably Clue and Monopoly are my favorite games, but I do have a lot of really fun ones to share with you guys today, so let's just get into it. So I also want to mention some of these are, of course, are like more of like a classic kind of game that's been around forever, and I'm not gonna lie, I probably have at least like 7 different versions of Clue and probably about the same amount of different versions of Monopoly. Growing up in my family, Monopoly was definitely the one I feel like we played the most. Specifically, like me and my brother would play it a lot. I'd get my mom to play every once in a while, and my dad, he'd maybe play like every once in a while. But for the longest time, like Monopoly really kind of was like our game of choice, and we really would just rotate between all the different like themes of Monopoly. And growing up, like the version that was like my go-to version was the Monopoly Disney version. I will put a picture of it on screen here because I don't have it with me at the moment. It's actually in the trunk of my car. I always have a few board games in the trunk of my car in case I ever just, you know, want to pull it out with some friends. So that one's actually out there at the moment, but this is what it looked like. I would always play as Cinderella. Not gonna lie, that was like my favorite token in that specific version. But that was always the one we always played. But I mean, between me and my brother, we've probably got about, honestly, at least at the very minimum 10 different versions of Monopoly between the two of us. So the one that I actually have here today, this one was actually a birthday gift. No, I think it was a Christmas gift. It was a Christmas gift to me from my little niece who is 6 years old, and she knows I love Monopoly, and of course it was the year of Barbie. So she got me for Christmas the Monopoly Barbie version. Now we actually haven't gotten to play it yet, and unfortunately the tape on the gift wrapping was stuck to the box and it ripped it, so I'm kind of a little sad about that, but oh well, it's okay. And this is actually like a not quite Monopoly Junior, but it's not like the full Monopoly with 10 spaces on each side of the board. I think this one has like 7. No, actually it has 9 on each side, which is kind of weird and throws me off just a little bit, but of course I think this was a little bit more intended for younger audience. So having less spaces on the board does kind of speed it up a little bit. So this one I actually, like I said, haven't played yet, but I will be playing it sometime soon in the future. I of course love Barbie. I love things pink. I really love the little hotels in this one because it's actually a Barbie dream house. And again, in the sake of simplicity, there are not houses and hotels in this version. There's just like the dream house and stuff, which again kind of simplifies the game a little bit. And of course the little token pieces are so cute as well. So there is like a little Barbie sports boat, I guess I would say. Speedboat? I don't know. It's cute though. Little Barbie sports boat. Of course, we have Barbie's little convertible car. We have a Barbie bust. This is like the 1950s original Barbie style with the ponytail and the floofy bangs. We have a roller skate, and finally Barbie's little dog. So I think that these are just really cute little token pieces, and I just love the details of it. Of course, we have the really adorable Barbie money. I'm really looking forward to playing this version, probably with my niece sometime when she maybe when she gets just a little bit older and she's really kind of getting into board games and stuff. So I think that this will be a really fun one to play with her, especially since she was so sweet to get it for me for Christmas. So the next one is another Monopoly, and this one I believe we have played one time. I haven't been able to like play board games with people as much as I used to in the past, so that's one thing I'm really wanting to like kind of try to make time for more of in this year, is playing board games and stuff, because I love board games. I just don't really have a lot of people to play them with, so I'm kind of at the mercy of other people. But this one I do remember we played one time and it was really fun, and I think it's a really great spin on Monopoly. If you are kind of like me and you love Monopoly, you've played it a bajillion times, you have a lot of versions of it and stuff like that, this is kind of fun because it's a little bit different, and that's because it is Monopoly Cheaters Edition. Now please excuse this one, I did have it in the back of my car yet again for a while, so the colors did get a little bit sun bleached, so please excuse that. But this one is really fun because it is of course Cheaters Edition, which allows you to actually cheat while playing the game. So now you can't just cheat willy-nilly though. There are certain rules and ways you are allowed to cheat, which I think is kind of fun because it just kind of gives you a little bit more of an alternative goal as far as playing this game. You're still playing like the regular Monopoly game, but you kind of get these little opportunities to try to pull one over on your opponents, and I kind of say it's a fun one to throw in there every once in a while if you are very familiar with Monopoly. And it's really cute because there's actually a little handcuff that you can use on a player if you catch them cheating, which is kind of a little funny gag. But on the little box here there is a list of ways that you can cheat. So you can pickpocket, which is stealing money from another player, kind of like if they're not watching, kind of like slip 100 out of their pile. Or you can free stay by skipping out on rent. You can do bank heist, which is stealing money from the bank. Oh, and that's the other thing. There's not a designated banker in this game. Everyone's allowed to be their own banker, so that's kind of where the opportunity to steal comes from. There is trick dice, which says ignore the dice and move as many spaces as you want. Extra allowance, collect 300 when you pass go instead of collecting the regular 200. Escape artist, when you're in jail, take off the handcuff. Price gouging, charge a player more rent than they owe. I feel like that's a really fun one because no one really keeps up with the rent prices on their cards, so that's always a really fun little cheaty way. Squatters rule, collect rent for another player's property. That one is hilarious. Shortchanged, when you owe another player change, secretly give them less than you owe them. Slippery deed, steal a title deed from another player or from the bank. Property swap, swap one of your title deed cards for one owned by another player or the bank. Unlicensed contractor, place a hotel from the bank or from another player's property onto any one of your properties. Counterfeit chance, instead of doing what's written on your chance card, do whatever you want. Identity theft, on your turn, move another player's token instead of yours. And surprise demolition, remove another player's hotel from their property. So those are all the ways that you are allowed to cheat in the game, and there's specific times when you're allowed to cheat, so it's not just like a crazy willy-nilly free-for-all. There's still some little rules in it, but this one is just a really fun game. Like I said, if you are a seasoned Monopoly player, this is a really fun one to throw in there every once in a while, especially if you kind of have a group of tricksters. Now I do have a million other versions of Monopoly that I like to throw in here and there, but I'm just limiting it to those two for this video, and we're gonna move on to another classic board game that I am a big fan of. This is probably my favorite traditional board game that there is, and it is of course Clue. And this one, again, this is the Liar's edition of Clue, so kind of like the Cheaters edition with Monopoly. Now this one we actually haven't played. I haven't played with anyone. This was one that I got like for Christmas maybe a couple years ago, maybe last year, I can't quite remember. Like I said, board game time has just kind of gone to the wayside, so I'm really wanting to get back into it very soon. So I'm actually not as familiar with this version on how it plays. Kind of like with Monopoly, you know, there's still playing the actual game, but there's certain times when you're allowed to cheat and not. So it's kind of the same concept for this one. So this version also comes with like a little button here that you hit if you think someone is lying. So like I said, since I haven't played this one firsthand, I'm not quite sure all the details of it, but this is definitely one I think would be a really fun one. Again, if you have like a group of tricksters that you kind of want to play a game with, this might be a fun one to kind of break up the monotony of like a traditional kind of board game. So I'm really looking forward to playing this one at some point. Hopefully I will get to do it soon because, again, like I said, Clue is one of my favorite board games. I have so many versions of Clue, but I think that this one might be one of my favorites other than like my childhood one, which I grew up playing like the one from the 1970s. I can't remember what year exactly, but it was the one from the 70s. That was the one I kind of grew up playing, and I liked the like art style of that one a lot. It was very, very cool. But I think that this one might be my favorite of all the Clue games, and that's because it is Clue Master Detective. And basically this one is just a bigger version of Clue. So there's more rooms. I think originally there are 9 rooms in the original Clue, and I think this one has like 12 or 13. Again, like if you're more of a seasoned Clue player and you just kind of want like more of a challenge, there's more rooms, there's more weapons, and there's also more players as well, so it's kind of fun. I think if you're just like a really big Clue fan, this is an absolute must-have. It's so fun. Again, this one has been in my car, so it's kind of faded, but I absolutely love this one. So here you can see what the board looks like, and other than that, just with having more players, more weapons, more rooms and stuff like that, it just makes the game even more fun, I think, especially if you are like a really seasoned Clue player like me. I mean, it's my favorite game. I've played it hundreds of times, and I just love the extra challenge of it. It kind of makes the game last just a little bit longer, so I really enjoy this one, and it's probably my favorite version of Clue. But I have to mention one more kind of honorable mention. Again, I don't have this right now. It's actually in my board game closet over here, and I don't feel like digging it out. But this one I remember I got from like, I guess it was a birthday around between 2003 and 2005 or something like that. And it was called Clue FX, and this is what it looked like. And this one was kind of like a really cool version because it was an electronic talking version of Clue. And the gameplay was a little bit different, but you had these little token pieces, and it was like a little sensor in the board, and whenever you would check in your token piece to a specific location, it would give you clues and things like that. And I remember loving that game so much, but because of like the wiring in it, whenever like you would fold over the board game and stuff, it would mess up and malfunction, and I think they either like recalled it or discontinued it because that was the case with a lot of those board games with just that kind of circuitry in it. So unfortunately it does not work anymore. But I still have it in my board game history collection because I loved it so much. So that one is just like a little honorable mention Clue, because that one was very near and dear to my heart. So this next one I think is definitely included in like the classic board games kind of category. So this one is one I honestly had not played before. Maybe like 2 or 3 years ago was the very first time I ever played this one. And it's a really fun one. Now I have to say, similar to Monopoly, this can be a long game. So I haven't played this one as many times. I probably played this one maybe 5 times, but every time I've played it, I've loved it. But I've also only played it 2-player, and I could only imagine with the more players how crazy this would be. But this, of course, is Risk. Again, this one has been in my car. It's a little faded, unfortunately, but you guys, this one is a crazy game. I have only just like scratched the surface with plays of Risk, and like I said, it's a long game, so you kind of need like, you know, I wouldn't recommend this for younger kids because we've tried playing this with a younger kid and she just gave up after probably 15 minutes and stuff. So I think this one's a little bit more of adult kind of like mind strategic game, not as far as like content or anything, but it is a game of world domination. So you have all like world territories, and basically you are commanding your armies. And I know, coming from the girl who was just talking about Barbie Monopoly, this probably doesn't seem like it's quite my kind of style of game. And I'm gonna have to say, you're right. It's definitely like thematically not a game I would typically go for, but I really like this game and it is very fun and I get very competitive with it. Also, it is a game that my boyfriend will play with me because it's not such a girly game. Now, Barbie Monopoly is probably gonna be a hard sell to him, but Risk every once in a while is a fun one, and we we get pretty competitive over it. So like I said, you have the world map here. It's divided into territories, and you have cards that assign you to certain territories, and there's a lot of different gameplay versions of this, and we actually haven't played anything other than just like the traditional kind of play, but you can also do like secret mission styles where like the game ends as soon as you complete whatever your specific mission is. So that can be a fun way to kind of like shorten the game. And again, like I said, I haven't ever played this with more than just me and my boyfriend, so I would love to see what this is like with like a full group. So this one might be a little bit of a surprising one if you know me and my personality, but this one's really fun. But if there is like a girly version of Risk, I would be very interested in it. Okay, so that was it for like what I wanted to show in my like kind of classic section of board games. So all the ones that I have next, I have a few more, but I do have a lot of different ones in here. I've got a card game, and then the other ones, again, I haven't gotten to play yet. I know, I'm the worst. I'm reviewing games I haven't played, but it's more of a haul, like I said in the beginning of the video. So next up, this one is actually a card game, and I had never played this card game before this version had come out. And if you guys are not familiar, I am a huge Crumbl cookie fan. So I had to get their game that they created and collaborated with the company Grandpa Beck's Games. So this is basically a reskinned version of the card game called Cover Your Assets. And it's kind of like this fast dealing kind of matching game almost. Sounds kind of weird, but it is a really fun one. But this is their version that they collaborated with them. It's so cute though, because it's like I said, it's a little card game and you've got different type of cookies that you're trying to make batches of cookies, and you get to steal cookies from the other players and swap them and all kinds of things like that. And it's a really fun game. I have played this one probably, I would say maybe less than 10 times, but it is a really fun game and one that doesn't take much time at all. I'd say you can probably play this game. If you were playing with like 4 people, you could probably get it done in 20 minutes. It's also really cute because you have little cookie tokens based on famous Crumbl cookies. So there is, of course, the pink sugar token here. There is the circus cookie here. There is key lime pie, and there's a dirt cookie, and of course chocolate chip cookie as well. So you get to choose your little cookie token, and you are earning points based on how many batches you are able to make and swipe and all those good things. Another cool thing is I believe you can only get this at Crumbl. I don't know if it's just Crumbl locations or if you can get it online. I can't remember. At the time when I got this, I think last spring-ish maybe, I think is when they launched it. I got mine at a Crumbl store. And the cool thing is the purchase of the game comes with 1 coupon for a free Crumbl cookie, which is really cute. You can do 3 to 6 players. It's for pretty much ages 6 to 99 is what it says, and they say you can play it in 15 to 30 minutes, which I think is pretty accurate. And the other thing I just love about this so much is how small and compact this is. You could easily take this anywhere. If you're going on a quick little weekend vacation and you want to have like a little game to play, this is so perfect, and I just love the box of it, and I love the game as well. Okay, next up is a new game that I have not played yet, but this should be no surprise to anyone who is a regular viewer of my channel, especially within the last year and a half, I would say. And this was actually a gift given to me from my boyfriend for my very last birthday in October last year. I turned 30, and he got me, with a little bit of my nudging, he got me the Nancy Drew collector game. So this one, like I said, I haven't played it yet, but I'm dying to, and you know, maybe I'll get him to play with me. You actually can play it 2 to 4 players. It says it's ages 8+. This one says it takes 20 to 35 minutes to play. So basically, I think how this one goes is you are like a book collector of Nancy Drew, and you're like at an auction and you're trying to collect your specific Nancy Drew books. And it's kind of like it's what I've heard is it's kind of like a Guess Who type of game. It's definitely one that is on my radar. Maybe I will make a video on it in the future or not, but we will see. But since I'm just such a huge Nancy Drew fan, this was a really sweet gift that I was so excited to receive. Okay, so the next game I actually have played. I picked this one up. I got like a group of 3 new games at one time. I had like a Target gift card, and I just decided to get some board games. So this was one of the 3 that I got at that time, and this is the only one I played of them. But this one's really fun, and I feel like it's kind of a time appropriate game because of the Willy Wonka movie that just came out in December, and of course with all the drama with like the memeage of the what was it, the Scottish Glasgow Willy Wonka experience. I feel like this is very on topic. But this one is called Wonka Golden Ticket. I should also say who the makers of it. This was Buffalo Games and Puzzles is who made this one. Oh, and this was also for the 50th anniversary of Wonka. I didn't realize, wow, 50 years. So this one is 2 to 5 players, ages 10 plus, 20 to 30 minutes. And I also just want to mention, when I first got this game, I unfortunately was missing one of the game tokens, which was, ironically, it was Charlie Bucket. And I was just so gutted. I try to take really good care of my games. I know me leaving them in the back of my car and getting sun damage isn't doing the best for my case right now, but I really truly do try to take very good care of my games, and I don't, like, if I lose a piece, I am devastated. Like, if I lose a Monopoly dollar, I am livid. So I try to take very good care of my games, but luckily I was able to contact Buffalo Games. They do have a website that you can contact them through, and they verified my receipt from my purchase, and there's like a serial code on the game itself. They were able to verify all of that, and they sent me a replacement piece free of charge, which was so incredible. And I just wanted to like say that because that was amazing customer service, and it came so fast. I got it like maybe like 2 to 3 days later, and I was just so happy. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I feel like a lot of companies wouldn't do that, and they'd just be like, oh well, so sad for you. But I just was really impressed that they did that, and it was free, it was easy to do as well. Loved it. So this one we have played probably, I would say maybe like 3 or 4 times, and it was a really fun game. So this is kind of what it looks like on the back. Instead of having like one big board game, you actually have 9 different tiles here, and they are actually double-sided, so you can play it all on one side, and then if you want like a more advanced version, you can flip all of the tiles over and have like a whole other experience. So basically with this game, you are playing as one of the characters from the Willy Wonka movie. Specifically, you're playing one of the kids. So there's Charlie Bucket, Mike TV, Augustus Gloop, Veruca Salt, and Violet Beauregard. But each of your characters have like specific things that they can and can't do, or like a special superpower that they have. And then they all have their own different amounts of allowances. And basically through the game, you're going to different locations, performing certain actions, drawing cards and stuff like that. And all the while you are collecting chocolate bars. So let me show you, all of the chocolate bars are in here. They're basically these little paper sleeves. And the first time you play, it's kind of annoying because you have to like put together all the little chocolate bars, but you know, you do it once and you're done. But these are what they look like. They are so cute, you guys. And there's little chocolate bars in here, and each of them, and then in the back there's like a little lip here where you can hide a golden ticket. So basically you're trying to win as many chocolate bars as you can, because that will give you a greater chance of finding the chocolate bar that has the golden ticket, which is a lot of fun. And at the end of the game, after every chocolate bar has been collected and everyone's like going through all of their chocolates, it's really fun to kind of see if you are the one who wins with the golden ticket. And there are multiple golden tickets, so you can play it in different ways. I prefer to do it where you only have one golden ticket. That way there's only one winner. But if you want to have like multiple winners and stuff, you can play with multiple golden tickets. You can kind of develop your own little house rules on that. But it is really fun, and it's just kind of exciting, kind of like rifling through all your chocolate bars to see if you're the winner. So I really enjoyed this one as well. I would really recommend it if you are a fan of Willy Wonka. It's not too complicated. It's a pretty fun, kind of fast-paced game, and I am definitely looking forward to playing that one again. All right, these last 4 games, I'm going to try to speed through them because, again, I have not played any of these yet. This is kind of more the haul part of the show and tell haul. Again, some of these are ones I bought for myself. Some of them are gifts that I received. This one is a really cool one though, and I don't know why I haven't gotten to play it yet. But this one is called 13 Dead End Drive. This one has a little bit of like a spookier kind of vibe, which I really like that. Like, I love that about Clue, but I either like really girly or like kind of like spooky gothy games. But this one I find is kind of like the best of both worlds. It kind of feels a little bit like Clue based on like the theming, but I'm pretty sure the gameplay is pretty different. This one I haven't even like taken the shrink wrap off of yet, but this one I believe I got as a birthday gift 2 years ago, and I'm sad that I haven't played it yet. So basically, from what I can gather of this game, it says that you are kind of like a group of friends and family that are gathered at the reading of a will of Aunt Agatha, which this is her mansion. So this is kind of like how the board game setup looks, and you're playing as one of the characters. Only one of these 12 specially invited guests will inherit her loot. And the thing that absolutely kills me, and I love it so much, there is a character in here, and her name, she is the best friend of Aunt Agatha, and her name is Lulu. And that is my family nickname for me, and I thought it was so cute that there is a character named Lulu, so I'm definitely gonna have to play as her for the game. So I kind of feel like this game almost has a little bit of like Mousetrap vibes, if you guys remember that game. Oh my god, that's another nostalgic game that I loved growing up. I mean, it was one of those ones that like almost never played out like how it's supposed to, as far as like all the crazy contraptions. But Mousetrap, that was another one I loved. I digress though. So this one, it seems like there's kind of like some booby traps along here in the mansion that you kind of got to work around while trying to, I guess, be the winner and collect the inheritance. A little like quick little teaser. I actually, when I was in college, I have a degree in graphic design, and one of the classes was a packaging design class. And in that class, it was kind of like, instead of having a whole bunch of little projects that we did, there were like, I think 2 or 3 big projects that we would work on like the entire semester. And one of those projects was to create your own board game. And we weren't allowed to just like reskin like Monopoly and make that your game. Like, you had to come up with a whole new game. And the game that I actually came up with was kind of not based on the gameplay of this, because the gameplay is quite different, but the theming is very similar. And one day I think I will show you guys that game. I actually have it. We had to not only design the board game, but we had to create and produce the game ourselves. So all the cards we had to make, the token pieces, if your game had money in it or whatever it may be, the board game itself, the board. We had to create the box component, and that was just a really fun project. I actually did win a graphic design award for this game, so maybe one day in the future I will share it with you guys. Looking at it now, there's definitely a lot of things I would like update and change about it and like, you know, improve on, but I'm still very proud of it for what it was, and winning an award for it too. So maybe one day in the future I will share with you guys that board game, because I spent a lot of time on it. Like I said, it was a semester-long project, and I'm very proud of it, but it does have a very similar premise to the 13 Dead End Drive game, but the gameplay is a bit different. Again, it's like everybody is a family member gathering at the mansion for the reading of a will, but instead of just one person winning the inheritance, there are different sets of inheritance, and everyone is trying to gather their collections and get out before the ghost of Ruby Featherstone reappears. So that's my little teaser. Like I said, if anyone's interested, maybe I'll make a video dedicated to it in the future, but I did want to say that some of the inspiration for my board game did kind of come from the idea of this game. Another Nancy Drew game that I got, now this one is actually from Hunt a Killer. So if you guys are not familiar, they used to be like a subscription box, and every month they would send you a box and you'd have like a mystery or a case you had to solve, and it was like this really fun kind of game thing. But then they started producing like actual board games as well. So this is produced by them, and it is a Nancy Drew themed game. This one is called Mystery at Magnolia Gardens. Now there is a Nancy Drew book that is actually, I guess, what this one is based off of. I have not gotten to that book yet, but I'm dying to. And again, I have not played this one yet. I didn't want anything to kind of like you know, spoil me, so I'm not gonna play this one until I finish the book. Again, there might not be a comparison other than the name, but I'll get there when I get there. But also, I think this is kind of one of those like story-based games that like is a mystery you're trying to solve, and like once you've solved it, you've kind of played the game. So I don't really think that there's gonna be much replay value for this one, so I'm kind of saving it for like a special occasion, I guess, after I read the book. Maybe like if I ever had a party, or if I just wanted to play it with friends or something. So I think there's just a lot of clues that come in the game, and you're trying to, you know, solve the mystery. So like I said, I don't know if this is really a game that you can replay, but I'm definitely excited to try this out whenever the time comes to play it. All right, so this next game, I think it's from the publisher Ravensburger. I've never heard of it, but this is the Wizard of Oz game. It's called Adventure Book Game, The Wizard of Oz. I haven't played this one. I kind of feel like it almost is gonna take a little bit of, what's the word? Like pre-planning to like figure out all the rules and stuff, because it never fails in every like board game group. There's always like the one person who's kind of like in charge, and they're the one who has to read all the rules and explain it to everyone else. And then there's always the person who like never listens to the rules, and you can explain it to them, but it's not gonna make any difference. So I feel like I'm kind of like, it's kind of back and forth between if it's me and my brother in the group. He's usually like the one who does that, but if he's not in that group, I'm definitely the one who has to read it and explain it to everyone and teach them, even if I've never played the game myself. So I kind of feel like that's where I'm at with this one, but this one I'm really wanting to play, and it's very different than what I was expecting from like, I just kind of picked it up without like researching it, because sometimes I don't know, want to figure it out myself. So this one is ages 10 plus. It's 1 to 4 players, so you can actually play this one solo. Now that I'm realizing that, maybe I'll play it solo myself, learn the game, and then like try to teach it to my friends or something. But also this one is a 15-minute game per chapter, and there's several like chapters in the game. I think there are 6 chapter miniatures. And I was thinking that like, oh, you get to play as one of the characters, and you actually, I don't think you do. I think that these are kind of more of like a story-based kind of game. And so, like I said, I haven't played this one yet, but just from my very limited knowledge, I was always like, oh, I'm gonna be Glinda. And then whenever I started like reading it or like looking at it, I'm like, oh, I don't think you actually play as a character. I think you kind of are all playing like a cooperative type of game. And I don't know, it's just gonna be an interesting one. I think I might try this one out by myself now that I know it is a 1 to 4 player game. I feel like there's not many solo games, so I'm kind of interested to see what this one is like. Okay guys, and finally on to the very last game. This is the most recent board game I purchased. I got this one probably about a month ago, and I was kind of just got it on a whim. My boyfriend and I were talking, and he knows that I like designing things and like, you know, making board games like I mentioned, and he was saying like, you should make a Titanic themed board game and let's make millions off of it. And I'm like, I kind of think someone already made that. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, it has already been made. And so I was like, you know, I love Titanic. I'm gonna go ahead and get this game. And I'm pretty sure this one has been out for a while, but this is like a re-release of it. So this one is just called Titanic the board game. Sorry for the reflections, I'm sorry. But this one is called Titanic the board game. This one is the Centennial Collector's Edition. I got this from Amazon, and this one is published by Universal Games. I'm pretty sure this originally came out like around or shortly after the Titanic movie. And it's actually been a lot longer than 100 years now. It's actually been like 112 years now since the Titanic sank. But anyway, so not quite centennial anymore. But basically this one is kind of an interesting concept because you are playing as like a passenger on the Titanic. And it's kind of like a 2-part game, I would kind of say, or like a 2-phase game, because you are playing as one of the passengers. You have specific belongings you have to collect first before you can get off the ship. And I think it's like one of 5 different sets or something. So you have to kind of go around the board to collect certain things before you can get off the boat. And then you get to travel up through like first class, and then you get to try to see who can get off the ship first. This is definitely one I feel like a lot of people would be interested in playing as far as like my family members and stuff, so I just really can't wait to play this one. And you get like really cute like little passports and stuff for your character, which I think is really fun, so I just feel like this is gonna be an interesting game to try out, and one that I had never heard of before. Like, I mean, I knew in the back of my mind that it existed, but I'd never like played it before, I'd never seen anyone play it before, I'd never watched any videos about it, so it just kind of piqued my interest, and I'm like, you know what? That is totally a board game that sounds up my alley. Alright guys, so that is all of my board games for right now for this kind of show and tell haul. Like I said, obviously I haven't played all of these games, and this is not even half of all the board games I own. I've got a lot more, so it's not even a full collection or anything, but maybe in the future, if I really enjoy any of these games and I feel like making a dedicated video to it, maybe I will do that. So we will see in the future if I make any more videos on these or not, but I just really love board games, and I'm trying to stick my toe into starting some of like expanding into, I mean, there's just so many board games that are coming out now, and I don't know, I'm kind of feel a little overwhelmed with some of them every time I go down like the board game aisle at Target or Walmart or something, and I'm just like, there are so many options for board games now. I feel like when I was growing up, you pretty much had like maybe like 15 different board games you could choose from, and now I just feel like there are absolutely hundreds and hundreds that you could choose from, and it's just so crazy. I'm definitely wanting to try out some like solo board games and stuff, so hopefully I will try to kind of do some research for that, because like I said, I don't really have a lot of friends to play board games with, and family members and stuff, so it's just kind of like, it'd be fun to try to do a solo game for once. Alright guys, so that is it for this show and tell type of haul video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's a little bit different for my channel, but hopefully any of my fellow board game lovers found this helpful or entertaining or anything. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Links are below. And until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.